everybody? Back again with another video. This time we got something different. We got a Boomkin guide for 9.2. So I've been playing quite a lot of Boomy, as you guys may have seen on my stream or based off my previous videos, where I talked about kind of, just for fun, having some fun playing some Boomy. And I want to get a guide out for you guys so that you guys know kind of what I'm doing. Because I feel like I run like a little bit of a niche kind of build. I'm not gonna go out there and say this is the best thing ever, the best build. This is what all the top players play, because it's absolutely not. It's what I play, and I have so much fun doing it. And I think it's a really interesting build for you guys to try out, and I think you'll enjoy it. Let's get right into it. Okay, so first off, we're gonna start off with all of our talents. All right, so for our talents, the first row, the 15 row, it is Nature's Balance. Always. I really wish Force of Nature was good, but it's just not. I've tried. Favorite one I've even tried. This used to be good back in the day. I used to, FY guys, I used to be a Boomy main for way longer than I played Resto Druid. From Mop Wad Legion, I played all Boomy, and I just started playing Resto to BFA. Just so you know. Yeah. So Nature's Balance. This is giving you that nice little 50 AP to start, and then kind of just generation over time. If Starfire actually did any damage, this might be worth it, but it just doesn't. So Nature's Balance to go to there. The next row, 25 row. The two choices that you could, go between be Wild Charge or Renewal. Personal preference, I like Wild Charge, just from like me being a Wrestle Druid for so long recently. Like being in the habit of always just avoiding damage before that it happens, so you don't have to, deal with the healing. Renewal can be useful though for things that you just can't get away from, maybe like a Rogue Mage or a even like a DK Windwalker, DK something, DH. It's something that you just like really struggling to get away from. Renewal might be a good addition to help you out survivability wise, but for the most part I always play Wild Charge. It's just such a versatile ability. You can go up a Z-axis. You can stun people. You can charge to get off Echoing Resolve. You could leap things to slow them. Stun. You can root them with air charge. Just kind of a versatile ability. For the 30 tier, Guardian Affinity is unfortunately the only one you can choose. Dude, Feral Affinity, if you ever want to have some fun, man, play Feral Affinity and BGs with Boomy. It's awesome. Being able to have stuns, and if the bleeds actually did damage too, oh, it would be so. They should have like Master Teacher, who should be a talent for everybody. That'd be sick for like every spec. Like they could do everything. And then Rest Affinity can be useful in 2s occasionally if you know you're not gonna, or even 3s if you know you're not gonna be the target at all. Because the healing, obviously you can't really help your team with Guardian Affinity healing. It's more just self-sustained defensiveness. But it's always an option. So Guardian Affinity is gonna be the go-to 99% of the time. Next row, this is a kind of dependent one. So Bash and Mass Entanglement are usually the go-tos. Part of the wall potentially in 2s, but not 9 times out of 10 you're not going to run that. Bash and Entanglement, there's always a toss-up between which to use. So Root Beam, I see people use Mass Entanglement for Root Beam, but Bash could actually be better in a lot of cases, especially because the new Alpine Adept, you have like a 0.75 pass root. You really don't need the instant root because more than likely you're not going to get kicked on it. But there are cases where you're probably going to be better off running it regardless. For one, against double melee, like you could have uses for Mass Entanglement outside of Root Beam, and like if you're, you could Root Beam the healer manually and then just root like, let's say Windwalker images, Windwalker Unholy Decay, and they just like a jillion pets at you, and you can just root them and kind of get away. So that could be an option there. And then also, if you have enough stuns on your team, don't even bother playing Bash. Sometimes, like I've played I've played Boomy DH like HPAL before. Like that's an example where you have Hodge, you have all those DH stuns. It wasn't even worth it to play Bash. You could still do it, but it was like might as well just play the Mass Entanglement, get that instant root on for like any versatile meaning. But don't be afraid to just manually cast Root Beam anymore. I think a lot of people are kind of, I have to press Mass Entanglement or I can't Root Beam. Especially if you're running Alkanet, which you should. You have really fast roots, so just cast it, And especially because this is shorter than a global cooldown. Unless somebody's like sitting there waiting for you to cast it on them. And just a side note, if you do find yourself in the situation where do you think people are like pre-freedoming your roots? just do it randomly, you know, throughout the game, like root the DPS with the hard cast route and like making people freak out and force freedoms or like rolls or ports on themselves. That's another good way to help you out. Okay, going on the next one, we have 40s here. So Star-Lord is going to always be your option. The haste you get from that is just, it's too much compared to everything else. Incarnation could be niche in like if you're playing like a kind of a cheesier comp where you're pretty much going to win or lose off of the opener or off of Incarn itself. Or if you just want to kind of F around and have some fun, you should get the extra 10% crit. But for the most part, that haste buff is very easy to maintain, and you're more than likely going to be running that. I don't have any freaking target dummies out here, do I? I gotta go somewhere else then. Trying to make sure to target dummies. But yeah, Star-Lord, you're going to keep this up all the time, and that's 12% haste, and that's just going to be way more useful for you. For the next tier, we got 45. So this is where I personally get a little interested. Most 99 times out of 10, you're gonna see people running Twin Moons with extra Moonfire damage. I absolutely freaking love Stellar Drift, man. It is the reason why I have so much fun playing Boomy. Being able to cast while moving is just something that I wish WoW would bring back. Cast while moving is just so much fun, especially like when you're you know, you're able to clone while running. And then this is also going to play into the damage build that I like to play. For my damage breakdown, what I usually do. So this also you can cast while moving as well as your Starfall does 50% more damage. It's like not worth pressing Starfall without this talent, to be honest. So this is what I always run. To be honest, Stellar Flare is just not useful. It's a PvE. I think it's good in PvE, I believe, but it's not really useful in Arena. So yeah, just having the capabilities to, you know, let's say you get some Astral Power going, and then be able to cast Starfall, and then cast everything while moving for, you know, 6 seconds. You can throw Starfires in, you can clone something, you can root something, and then, you know, by the time you pretty much have it up again, and then do the same thing again. It is also nice to be able to like get those eclipses off all the time. You need to be, you know, you want to be constantly rotating eclipses, so being able to cast while moving and just maintaining good positioning while you're doing everything else is just super useful. And it's more useful now than it was in prior seasons and stuff, just because of the overset bonus that makes Starfall cost 15% less AP. So you can kind of get away with prior to that, it would just cost too much, and you would just not be able to Star Shares on top of that. But you know, as long as you just like re-stack up your AP. So like for example, I think you need 80. You're able to Starfall and then still get, you know, 1, 2, 3 Star Shards off. So it's not like it's taking away everything from you. You could still get them off. And then the last tier here, and if you do want to play, you know, Full Moon is also definitely an option. I'm just mentioning that this is what most people do play. I just like Stellar Drift. For the 50 tier, your Fury of Elune is going to be your best consistent pick, but you can actually use all three. Nobody would ever say you use New Moon besides me, but I know people want to be the best, but gosh darn it, this is so much fun to play. It's like, you know, Full Moon has just been an awesome ability that they added, and I wish it was better. But it actually isn't the worst if you pair it with Stellar Drift, because the problem with New Moon is that Full Moon was just such a hassle to cast off on. And if you actually do the math on the AP generation, it's virtually the same. The benefit of Fury of Elune over the other ones is that you can be generating AP while you're already Star Surging, if that makes sense. That's the reason why it's the best, because Full Moon does give you a crap ton of AP, but you're also going to have to be worrying about overcapping or so let me give you an example. So like if I'm doing my bursting, right, I got my Eclipse going, got all my AP here. I can cast, you get a lot of AP from both Half Moon and Full Moon. So I'm here, I can do this, and I can cast Full Moon, especially with Stellar Drift, so you can cast Full Moon while moving. And it hit hard sometimes. Oh, 31k, right? It's 27, and it hits. I feel like its Full Moon is it's underrated in its AoE abilities. Because AoEs actually, I think if I'm not mistaken, it hits everyone the same. But the Star Surge was 31. Yeah, like the fact that Star Surge is harder than Full Moon is kind of fucked up. But yeah, Full Moon definitely is fun if you ever want to F around with it. I do play it sometimes still. especially with Stellar Drift, because you're able to cast a moving. And if you do want to play this, just keep in mind that it's on a different school than clone. So people say like, oh, it's too hard to get off, especially if you're dealing with only one kick or something like that. What you could do is just, if you have a melee on you, just hard cast clone in his face. It's a win-win. If he casts a clone, if he doesn't kick it, he's cloned and you can full moon somebody else. If he does kick you, or he doesn't kick, if he does kick you, you can still cast full moon. So that's what I like. If I know I want to get a big full moon off, what I'll do is like literally, so I'll get my Eclipse, I'll Starfall while I'm moving, I'll cast clone, get kicked, pop Incarn, and then full moon off of that, and then you can just keep doing your burst. You still get a ridiculous amount of these star surges off of that, and don't sleep on the damage of. By the way, I've hit 20 plus K half moons as well on top of that, and that's also giving you decent AP generation as well. So keep that in mind. Solstice is probably a decent pick for a Necros playstyle. Because you're just constantly getting the most sustained damage. If you want to get the best out of Solstice, you want to make sure that you're constantly just getting your eclipses at all time. Whenever you're at an eclipse, you should be casting to get an eclipse, because that's when your shooting stars will proc. Over here, this one there, and they do decent damage, honestly, if you add them up over time. But I feel like in this season, because of the 4 set, you probably will get just a better benefit of just going Fear of Elune and just rapid firing machine gun star surges. Alright, that's it for the talents. This is gonna be a freaking long thing. My goodness, I'm sorry. For talents, because I typically play Stellar Drift, I always tend to play Starburst, because it just double dips the benefit of it. If you're not playing Stellar Drift, I would say going with probably either High Winds or potentially like this is kind of the changer spot. I almost always love to play these. If I'm playing like a Rogue Mage, I typically don't play Moon Kenora because I just kind of want all the defensiveness I could possibly have. Typically versus like Rogue Mage, I'll still play Starburst because you can get rogues out of stealth with it. But I would typically play something like either like Disarm here. I always play Alkanada. It's just that's fast clone. But if you find yourself in a situation where you're never getting attacked, you can opt to not run it, because this only works if people are hitting you. If no one's hitting you, you're not gonna get the procs for it. So, I mean, there's a lot of great talents you can use. You can use Celestial Guidance for extra defensiveness if you feel like you're just losing against, Mage Lock all the time. It's not that great, though. It's only 10% reduction on damage on Bear Form. Crescent Burn, never use. Moon and Stars, never use. Moon Kenora, obviously, make sure to take advantage of that before you burst. That's 12% extra crit. That is very, very, very useful. It adds up pretty quickly. So you want to make sure that whenever you're, before you're bursting, even if it's a small burst or a big burst, you're getting the 3 stacks of Moon Kenora. You can just 12% crit. That's going to help you out a ton. Fairy Swarm, definitely still a good talent to take, especially versus classes that are bursting, and especially good when you're playing with Affliction Lock, because the big weakness of Fairy Swarm is it's dispellable. It's a disarm that's dispellable, and if you play with Affliction Lock, at least you have that protection. But I definitely love using this versus Rogue Mage. Like, my typical opener for Rogue Mage is I'll be in stealth, wait for them to open on my partner. I'll usually try to double Incap Roar. I'll double Incap Roar and then disarm one guy, disarm the rogue, root beam the healer, and then like clone the rogue, a mage or something like that, or try to juke the mage and then clone him or something like that. So at least you'll have 2 people. If you reason I do that is for being able to disarm the rogue and then root beam so he can't dispel it. Protector Grove is also a good option as well. If this would be a nice option to switch out for like if you're playing Alkanada, for example, and you're not getting attacked, so you're like, I don't want to run that. This is another option if you're just to help with extra healing on your team. High Winds is also a great option as well, especially when you combine High Winds with Alkanada. You get the nice little MS on the clones, especially for peeling. Okay, and then Thorns. Thorns is also another option as well. You have a lot of decent talents, honestly, to pick from. Thorns, I typically don't run it because so many classes are purge based around. But if you find yourselves in a situation without a purge or anything like that, then it can be worth it. All right, next up, legendaries. So gear and legendaries. I'm running the 4 set, and there's not really a point of going into stats because you don't get to choose your stats. But what I want to do, so I have some of this gear obviously got out of my vault. I want to work on getting more mastery. I want to work on building a full mastery set. Right now I'm full haste, I have you know, case neck with a socket. Of course, I have sockets and all this stuff too, right? I got all these other though. So I have I'm prioritizing haste and then mastery, but I do want to actually try a full mastery build, just because like you're with Star Lord, you're kind of going a little overkill on the haste at some point. But then again, during your burst, when you have haste that fast, your GCD cooldown is really fast. So like, I can get these starters up really fast. Like I'm at 42% haste with all this. Like that is a very fast. And then if you do want to be playing for something like Full Moon, it's only a 2-second cast now. Gives you options. It is a lot of haste. But don't forget, everything is benefited from mastery, in like especially, and it's double benefited if you're you're doing incarnation. And then as for legendaries, Time Ward Dreambinder, I think it's the only one I play. Even as Necro, I will always play this because of the Starfall, my Starfall playstyle. So my general playstyle is going to be get 80 AP. Make sure you're in Eclipse, Starfall, Star Surge, and then you know start doing your casting, whatever. Look at these Starfall crits. Like you're getting a 20% bonus from the Starfalls because you obviously get the double up, so you're getting 20% stronger Starfalls on top of the 50% modifier of Stellar Drift. So I've hit upwards of almost 5,000 on just ball hits, and like the consistent pressure from this is great, and you're really not losing that much. Like obviously Star Search can do a lot during burst windows. I will typically not. I'll be a little more cautious on using the Starfall, but I'd still try to use it because if you prep your AP, you're still gonna have way more than enough, right? So like, let me give an example here. Let me stack up my AP to full. Because during Incarn, those things can and Blown Empowerment. So if I pop all my cooldowns here with the Starfall, did I say 43k? Jesus, man. Let's see how hard. And then you know if I can get it up again, if you get that double mastery benefit from Starfall during these windows, like 5,100, 5,200. It's just like it could hit hard, these Starfalls. It can hit. I hit up to a 6,000. Obviously, it's not a dummy, it's a target dummy, but these Starfalls are no joke. And when you're playing a class like I like to play with like Warlocks or Ellie Shamans, where you're kind of getting a lot of spread pressure to begin with, that could really add up. And then you're throwing in the sorcerers in between that, really good pressure. And then on top of that, if you happen to you know, while you're doing your burst window and you know you're incarn up and whatnot, and you're able to cast a moving or just throwing stars at them and pick up a starburst and then run those in while you're going, forget about it. You know, those starbursts can hit for, you know, 30, 40, 50k, and it's crazy damage. Okay, so that's for our legendary Dreambinder. For stats wise, for gems and sockets, I have all verse, just for more damage and healing. But mastery is also a great option to go for. I do want to start getting more mastery gear as I start going. I gotta speed this thing up. Okay, next, Soulbinds. So Soulbinds, I use two different ones. Okay, I use Pelagos as the main one because of the mastery benefit you get popping it. So Pelagos, you're gonna get, and then the first running the Deep Allegiance, so Conduit, Well-Honed Instincts, Precise Alignment, Tireless Pursuit, Fury of the Skies. You don't have to play Fury of the Skies. Actually, I think the other one was probably better. I just always forget to change it. Which one is it? The Adaptive Armor Fragment. You're probably gonna benefit from this. I haven't really done the math on it, but I want to say this one's better. I just keep forgetting to change it, but this one's not bad as well. Fury of the Skies if you don't have the other one. And let's get back to here. Do it here because you can see it better. So this is the traditional one I will use. You get that extra mastery benefit when you pop your Kindred Empowerment. Just 315 mastery, which is like 7. It's a lot of. That's actually a crap ton. And on top of that, from your obviously when you're buffed yourself, you get that. The other one I do run is Clea. This I like to run when I play with Ellie Shaman. Because Ellie Shaman, yeah, obviously has Sky Fury, or Resto Shaman, to be honest. You have Sky Fury, and this is the crit build, right? This is when I kind of showed this off on my last Boomy video. So you can I get stacks on this? Okay, there we go. So you get Valiant Strikes, which is going to give you like passive crit over time. Once you get stacks up, obviously, and as long as no one's dropping below 50% health, you'll be able to have a crap ton of crit. So let me pair this with Aura 2. Okay, we're at 11 stacks. So I'm just show you the max of it you can get. And the reason I run it obviously is because you have Sky Fury. So when you have this higher crit chance, those Sky Furies hit very hard. I hit like a 36k Star Surge the other day. It's actually wild. So right now I'm at 35% crit, and I think it could go a smidge higher. There you go. So wait, am I at 3 stacks? I'm at 3 stacks. So with this set, and I do also want to try a crit set too. So I'm at 34% crit on top of that, and it could. Is it gonna go higher than that? Oh, it's because I had my Zandalari proc. Oh, but anyway, having 30% extra crit, 30% crit during your burst windows is just awesome to have. With Sky Fury benefit, those are gonna hit very hard. Yeah, just extra crit. And conduits are virtually the same. Beach Legions, make sure that you do go the middle route. I mean, you lose a potency conduit going like this, but you do get this one is extra 6% crit. Oh, that's why I'm a little low on crit. I'm not near anything. I'm not near any allies. There you go. I was wondering why the crit was a little low. Yeah, so it should be 36 and then plus that. Okay, so 36 instead of 34. It's a decent crit. It's pretty nice. Okay, so that's it for the Soulbind and that precise alignment and Earthside Figure going down. As for other covenants, I'm not gonna go through changing all the other ones. Necro is definitely viable, as well as Night Fae. If you're gonna play Night Fae, I would stick with Naya, because of the mastery that you get. It's very useful. And then also, if you're going Necro, Kevin's the first one, Plague Divisor. That would be your best option on that route. Personally, I played Necro a lot, and I really wasn't feeling it compared to, because their goal of Necro was to be Roddy, but honestly, I felt like playing this Dreambinder Starfall Stellar Drift build with Kindred Empowerment was just better, because Kindred Empowerment buffs Starfall. Nothing else buffs Starfall in the game as a Boomy, outside of, well, no Covenants at least. So being able to, have that extra, I mean, you do get the mastery from Necro, but it's 15% extra bonus Starfall damage. That's how I'm able to get like those big crits on Starfall, or just big Starfall damage in general. Most of my games are virtually even Starfall and Star Surge. It's pretty crazy how much damage this can do if you just put some attention into keeping up Starfall, and then make sure that you're always getting the 2 stacks of Dreambinder on top of that, so that they're always 20% stronger. And I felt that spread pressure was actually better with this build. Even if you want to just put more focus on and also you get you get the option to be extremely bursty one single target as well on top of that. So I personally would recommend trying this out over Necro, because I think it's way more fun than Necro. Necro is rather boring because you're just kind of dotting the whole time, and dotting is not that fun in Arena, and MPGs is fun. But I don't feel like that, because you're just like redotting the same 3 targets over and over again. But that's probably my option for that. Next up, I want to just go over some macros. So I think this will turn out to be crazy long. Macros. Do I use any macros? Oh yeah. So this is gonna be similar to my freaking what should we call it? My Wrestle Druid guide. Sorry. I don't really use that many macros at all. The only macros I use for Boomy specifically is I call it the Juice. It's just my on-use trinket, Use 13. Cast Lone Empowerment, which is my empowerment, and then I put Empower Bond on there as well, in case I'm like juicing a partner instead of myself. And then I just have a yell thing in there, but it's just your Empower plus your medallion, or what do you call badge. Outside of that, I use Focus Clone, Focus Hibernate, so /cast add Focus Cyclone, Focus Hibernate. This is the same as my other guide for Wrestler. If you do want to be jumping to a target, the fly, so /cancel form /cast wild charge. Is there literally anybody here? That's the one that you can use if you can jump to your party at. Remember that you might have to hit that button twice because you're on GTD. /focus hibernate, so /cast add focus hibernate. Same thing for root, so focus root, and I put both mass entanglement here as well as entangling roots, so that they're both on there. In case I'm running mass entanglement, it's the same bind to do either or. And then one-shot macro. It's the same as the previous one, so it's badge, empowerment, and incarnate all in one button. And that is it for my macro. And then beam, focus beam too as well. So just basically focus macros. So focus clone, focus beam, focus hibernate, focus root. Yeah, that's about it on that. And then so lastly, I just wanted to go over my bursts, what I like to do. So for all of the burst windows, typically you're gonna have either small go, you're gonna have a big go and then 2 small goes, a big go and 2 small goes, because that's just rotating between incarn and then your lone empowerments. So with all of my bursts, ideally you want to be starting with the lunar eclipse, so double wraths into that. Just because of the tier set, you get that extra lunar Fury Balloon. My goodness. Okay, so if this is a single target fight here, typically what I want to do is stack some AP. I'm gonna Starfall. I'm gonna pop my little macro here, and then cast spammy Starchers. I forgot I'm running Full Moon, but whatever. We'll cast Full Moon pretend we're playing that. Oh, 38k Full Moon. Look at that. But you should be able to get about 8 Star Surges off in a row, I want to say. With that, let me run Fury Balloon once this goes back up. But that's the mini go. When it comes to the big go, and that's what you can do every time. And then, you pair that with a root beam, like prep a root beam for that, coordinate with your teammates. Something I've noticed playing Boomy these past few weeks is make sure that you're pairing. It's hard. I never voice with when I play my Boomy. You see, just kind of effing around for fun in LFG. But if you can pair like, a clone on the off target, a beam, let's say, I can't call these things on. This is the healer, this is the off target, this is the main target, cloning, and then instant root beam the healer, and then your teammate stuns that guy. So you have triple CC going just from that, and then you can do your burst from there. Let me run Fury Balloon here. Okay, so this would be the more traditional. Let's see how many Starchers we get from this. So especially if you prep your AP prior to. Okay, so boom, all my cooldowns. After that, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then maybe cast one more, 6, 7, and 8. So with like 2 other casts. So that was with Starfall. If you don't want to cast Starfall in that window, you can still get away, but just take that into consideration, right? This was 8 Star Surges. This was 1 Starfall. Granted, we have a lot of targets here. I'm not gonna float the boat, but this, let's say this is a 3s game. You have 3 targets and a pet, right? Just take that into consideration. That was a 6.8k max crit on Starfall. This is why I'm playing this build that I am. 8 Star Surges, great. You can still do a ton of single target damage, but at the same time, you're actually hitting everything. And another great benefit of playing like this is if when you're off popping incarn, you're gonna pop defensives from the other team, no matter what. And then being able to have maybe potentially have a target low from your Starfall spread pressure to be able to just instantly swap and then Star Surging him after that. So you was able to get virtually 7 Star Surges off in a row with the Starfall. If you don't Starfall, it should be about 9 Star Surges in a row. If there's a case where you need to kill this one guy really fast, then obviously maybe opt out to don't do the Starfall. But the Starfall, just saying, it does a lot of freaking damage. That was a 200k Starfall. It's kind of wild. Okay, and then I want to show you guys an example of that in game. So this was a clip from a 3s game I did. So this over here. So what I did here, I already had my eclipse prior to. I saw a stun onto the healer. I popped incarn and then just Fury Balloon, spamming those Star Surges over and over, just crit, and just literally smoking people, man. And this, I don't think this is even paired with Skyfairy. Oh, he just hit Skyfairy coming up here. But the damage can just be devastating during incarn. And then just make sure that you're constantly doing those mini goes in between. Every minute, you should be pairing Root Beam. So every minute you can be able to do this back. So like right now, for example, I don't have incarn up. The mini go, say it one more time. You're gonna want to get your Eclipse, pop your Root Beam or something on the guy, and then I pop my mini go, and then just throw on the charges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 7 in a row. We're getting there. And that's just on the mini go, right? Make sure you're doing that every minute with CC. If you can force out the defenses prior to your incarn by chance, that's going to set you up for an easy kill, like guaranteed win. That's it. Alright, that was an extremely long guide. I'm sorry, this is really scuffed and I just did it off my head, but appreciate you guys watching. If you did watch the entire thing, if you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.